Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to a video where I'm going to be talking about something that the community's been like going crazy about. We're going to be talking about one of the new lore spellments, Loremaster itself. Now, if you guys didn't know, Loremaster now is farmable spellment wise. You can farm these spellments, and yes, there are two paths you can do, but the bottom one is absolutely nuts. Once you max out like Loremaster, you basically have a spell that does about as much as Luminous on average, but it can actually do more. So basically, on average, you're either doing a Luminous on your opponent with this or doing better. This is crazy because to my knowledge, this is probably the most powerful form that Loremaster has ever taken. And obviously, this spell has a lot of history because, you know, you've seen it. We've seen it if you've been playing the game for a while. This spell was literally the only spell in every balance's deck. People used to spam this spell. Now, here's the thing. I have a feeling that it's a little bit different now, but I also wanted to open, you know, the comment section for y'all to debate this because I think this is a hot topic right now. So today we're gonna be answering the question: is Loremaster OP? That is right. So many people have been talking about this, and I've decided to make a whole ass video about it. I don't know. Let me know if y'all agree with what I've got to say. Let's get started. So first, let's talk about how easy it is to get the spellment, right? I feel like that's a big part of what makes a spell good, right? How easy is it to get, and does that justify how good it is? KingsIsle tends to use this logic with lore spells in general. You might notice that the trainable spells in general are a little bit weaker. They tend to be a little bit more giving with the damage per pip on these lore spells. For example, you'll notice that Savage Paw, right? It does well over the damage per pip for balance, and it adds a blade. So like when you're doing that 540 damage with a max tier Savage, you're getting rewarded for the fact that it's a little bit harder to get these spellments because the grind is just harder. You might have to craft a recipe, you know, like you might have to go out of your way to learn the spell. You might have to go out of your way to like upgrade the spell. I think another example is Samurai, which is extremely powerful for 5 pips, right? The high end does 650, but combined with the fact that it can literally give both you and your opponent a pip, which could put you at a disadvantage, and the fact that it's a lore spell, it's kind of justified. As you can see, I actually am getting close to maxing out Samurai already. The update's been out for a day. So as far as actually getting the spell upgraded, it's not too bad if you actually know people with gold keys. Some people have been literally hoarding them. That's kind of the way to get this right now. And this new gold key boss where you can actually farm Loremaster is actually not that hard if you have a decent strategy. Now, that's obviously very important. Basically, there's a gimmick at Loremaster where you have to use off-school spells because you will fizzle all your main school spells. That's basically a gimmick of this fight. And I actually really like the creativity that went into this boss. I actually really like that part, but unfortunately, I feel like it's clouded over by a lot of this controversy around this spell. So now that you guys know the full deal with this, right? Why it's so powerful at its max, how you acquire it, let's talk about the two unfair things about the spell that got a lot of people talking. One thing is that people who've hoarded gold keys and people who basically took advantage of how easy it was to get gold keys in the past have a gigantic early access to Loremaster. So basically, if you have Loremaster now, I'll get it because I know people with gold keys, or I have a bunch, right? But what about other people, right? What about people that did not know how this update was going to happen? Access to the spell is a big issue in my opinion, because right now I think there's going to be a lot of gatekeeping when it comes to who gets to do this. To my knowledge, I believe that there's a way to one-turn this boss, but you need a very, very specific group. And considering that the difference between two-turning and one-turning is literally double the animation time potentially, people are going to want to one-turn it. And what that means is that the people that do have gold keys are probably only going to share them with people that can do this in one, maybe 2 turns. I don't know, maybe it's a 2-turn strat. I believe there is a 1-turn, but that leads to a lot of gatekeeping, because if you're a noob and you don't have access to 1, gold keys, but 2, also the gear, the item cards, the various access to strategies that you might need to do this in 1 turn, it creates a sense of division in the community, and that I'm just not a fan of. And in the PvP meta, what this means is that if you don't have it, or if you're on another school, you're at a disadvantage during the earlier phases of this, and you're forced to adapt a lot quicker to just a few players instead of forcing to maybe adapt to something that happens a little bit more slowly. Now, this argument, I'm not saying that it's like completely, you know, free of, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, the spell, more and more people are gonna get it, right? So, I mean, the fact that people have it early might not really matter. It's just the fact that it might really create an unbalanced meta where you see like a massive win rate for some people because they're just basically just taking advantage of a new strat mad quick, right? right? That could lead to something unfair. So I feel like the way they've rolled out the gold keys is already gonna have consequences when it comes to this spell. But the actual spell itself, right? Is it actually that broken? I have a feeling that the answer is both yes and no, and I'd love to hear y'all's opinions in the comments. Why do I say no? Let's start with that. One, there's no solar surge in this game anymore. There's no enchanting in PvP anymore. So this spell, right? What it basically would have done is added 200 to Loremaster. That would have made the spell absolutely broken, especially with the stats that we have now. And really what made Loremaster so good in the past, especially spam-wise, was the fact that you could add a bunch of pre-enchants. You could literally enchant it in your main deck. It was very easy to pull an enchanted Loremaster, right? It's very good if you can always pull it. You can't always pull it. So there is that. There's no Loremaster TC that does this. A lot of people on their Life Wizards actually use their side deck and put in Luminous TCs. Now, I don't happen to have any on this wizard, but if I did, and it's not my life, I would put them in my side deck. You can't really get a Spellman upgraded version of Lore and put it in your side deck. This is simply a main deck thing. For that reason alone, this is not a Luminous Weaver for balance. It's not. That being said, the reason why it might be good, the yes to that question that we were talking about earlier, is the fact that you have other utilities on a balance that might make the spell really, really good. Combining the maxed version of this with Mana Burn, combining it with potentially, in my opinion, Samurai, which I believe is extremely good, and still being able to throw in surprises with spells like Hydra, it might make balance a lot better than it's been. You know, like maybe than it's been in a while, maybe than it's been recently. We have no idea to know. I do think there's a certain level of panic about this, and I do think that what must be said is that time will tell if this is an OP spell or not. I'm leaning towards that it's a little too good. I'll be honest, that's just me. That's just how like when I'm looking at a spell on a decent school that gives a weakness, like a hit and a debuff, that's always a gigantic red flag to me. So to me, I do feel like it's a little bit too good, but we could all be wrong. I feel like we should all keep an open mind just in case it's not broken, because in that case, it's not something to panic about. Now let's talk about my biggest issue with the rollout of Loremaster, and it's the fact that they somehow managed to make it so pay to win that it hurts. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, now, if you look over here, right, it doesn't say it on this pack, but if you open up the Keeper Spellmental pack, right, you have a very, very high chance of getting Loremaster Spellements. As you can see, I just opened these, I got 3 Loremasters. Now, I don't personally plan on using the packs to get my maxed Loremaster. I will be grinding. I will be doing it with viewers. That is a big issue, though. I think you've added something very powerful, and you've made it so that there's actually a unique boss fight that you basically have to do a decent strategy against, and you need gold keys. Fine. All right, you've made it, you know, somewhat hard to get. The only people that are going to have access to it are the people who've hoarded gold keys, not people who paid money. But then you added a way to open up a bunch of packs and then just get it. So I don't understand that logic at all. I will say this, it's less expensive now to open up packs for Spellments in general. They made it so that all of the packs that give Spellments in the Crown Shop, basically all of them give at least, I want to say 3 Spellments a pack. I think all of them give at least 3. You don't know which one you're going to get, but that's still a lot better than getting 0 or maybe 1 at a time, right? I mean, it's a lot better if you're trying to, I guess, pay your way through it. That being said, I do think that's a little bit of a crusty decision to do that, because right now everybody's scrambling for gold keys to do this boss, and they just added a very convenient way for you to just literally pay a lot of money for it. Again, I wouldn't be as mad because, you know, like, let's say this boss did not exist. Yeah, that would be, I would be making a big video on this. I'd be pissed. But I still find it a little odd that they didn't just release the pack maybe after, you know, like what's stopping them from having a way for you to pay for the convenience of having maxed your Loremaster after the people that have grinded for it can get to use it first, right? Now you don't know if you're going against someone who Loremastered because they actually grinded for it or if they paid for it. And I feel like that does cause a lot of division in the community as well. I think that's something that people just don't feel well about. I feel like people see that and they see a company that always adds a way for you to pay to win, and that's not it. This is a complicated issue. I feel like making a video on this was probably adding more fuel to the fire, but I wanted to make a video on it because I feel like Loremaster deserves its own video after this update. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that it's unfair that the people that have gold keys just have access to the spell mad early and other people are left behind? Do you think the spell itself is just too good? Do you think that's the issue with it? It's not how hard it is to get, it's just the fact that it's a good spell for no reason. And what do you guys feel about the way they rolled it out into packs? I'm curious to hear about all of these opinions. I want to cover all of this, but let me know what you guys guys think in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed, drop a like, drop a sub if you're new. We're so close to hitting 70K, so drop a goddamn sub if you haven't. As always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong, so stay awesome, y'all. And yeah.